Felicia with guest services with CAAMFest, also digital producer with Tiny Cast Co. And I'm so excited to be introducing our spotlight conversation, Ruby Ibarra, who will be sharing her music and her journey of her career, specifically also with the films that she's been involved with, 1,000 Cuts and 7,000 Miles, and we'll also have a special performance from her later. But I'm so excited to be doing this Q&A with you, Ruby. As those questions are coming in, I first kind of want to talk about it that we actually had you here at CAAMFest 2 years ago with, and we premiered the documentary of Nothing on Us. I mean, I want to know, like, how has it been since then? What have you been up to? I'd like kind of like refresh our audiences with you and what you're up to.
First and foremost, I want to say it's such an honor to be part of this CAAMFest Spotlight, and I'm super happy to be doing this Q&A with you, Felicia. Like I told you, as we were preparing for this Q&A today, I'm a big fan of Granny Cart Gangsters, so thank you for the work that you do. Shout out to Granny Cart, of course. And to answer your question, remembering back on the 2018 premiere of Nothing on Us at CAAMFest, it was just an amazing experience overall. Prior to that, I had never been truly, deeply involved in a documentary before. So it was very exciting and nerve-wracking for me and Evelyn Obamos, who was my co-director for that film, to present it, especially at CAAM. This is such a historic, film festival platform, especially here in the Bay Area for Asian Americans. So to be part of that at a time where, I was in a moment in my career where I felt like the trajectory was going up and I was just, a lot of exciting things were happening. It was just such an honor and such a blessing to be part of that. And since then, I've been busy. I think a lot of my close friends know me to be as a workaholic. Even during this pandemic and shelter in place in the quarantine, I was just joking the other day. I was telling my friend I find myself even busier than ever. I'm more busy now than I was maybe a couple months ago. And that's just, I think, the personality, the type of person that I've been. I get very bored easily if I'm not doing anything. So whether, it's has to do specifically with my music or starting projects such as the Panay's Rising Scholarship, which I'll talk about, later on in our conversation. There's a lot of things that I have not only on my plate, but things I would also like to pursue.
Amazing. Yeah, I mean, I feel similarly, like now more than ever have I been like really, really busy. And I think it's kind of a similar sense, like what do we have to lose now? Like we have all this time and we have some time to really think about what do we want to create and produce. And so, as we talked about this conversation, we were talking about, we would have actually had you in real life, during CAAMFest, doing 7,000 Miles. But yeah, talk to me more about like, the shifts and the changes you've had to make, in this time, CAAMFest online and now we're having these conversations online. I'd love to hear more so about what all the adjustments that you'd have to make as well.
I'm just very happy that CAAMFest has decided to continue, even amidst during this pandemic. We see a lot of, virtual platforms pop up. I think it's good that we continue to put the artwork out there and the creativity out there, because I feel like more than ever, when we think about healing, when we think about things that provide, a semblance of not just familiarity, but also, I guess, a sense of peace. Music definitely comes to mind first. First and foremost, that's my therapeutic escape ever since I was a little kid. It's always been music. So the fact that, platforms like this still exist, I think it's very important. And to answer your question, how this year has turned out is exactly opposite of what I expected. When it was December 31st, 2019, usually, New Year's Eve, everyone is like, the following year, it's going to be my year. I have, A, B, and C plans. I'm going to accomplish this and that. Similar to everyone else, with that kind of sentiment, that was the kind of mentality I had coming into 2020. I had not only the 7,000 Miles documentary that I was planning to complete with Evelyn Obamos, again, who's also co-directing that with me. Of course, I'm also working on my sophomore album, which I'm still planning to release later this year. But just things like live shows, for example, that are obviously, that have been put to a halt currently in our society. I had expectations of putting together a tour following the release of my sophomore album. I had plans to go to the Philippines during the springtime, and also pursuing other film projects that I had in mind. But obviously, we want to practice physical distancing, and a lot of the projects now I find myself, these are more of the independent based projects that I've only been able to complete at the moment. And I think at the end of the day, the silver lining that I've found in all of this really is, a moment to finally be present and kind of reset, rewind, and reflect. As you mentioned yourself, for someone who's used to being busy all the time, this has really been the first time, although I say that, I still have a lot of activity going on in my career. I find I haven't been home for such a long period of time that I have in the last 2 months. Much of 2018 and especially 2019 was me on the road, or me flying out to different states or even out of the country to do shows. And, that was, of course, a very fortunate those were all fortunate blessings. But again, as I mentioned, I think the silver lining in what's happening right now with this pandemic is that I finally get to be home. I get to, be with my partner, spend time with him. I get to talk to my family. And most of all, I get to be back in the studio and actually back into that creative zone, because I think when, we're in the mix of, our daily busy lives, we get pulled apart from different directions, and sometimes we lose focus on what truly needs to be done. And that's what I'm hoping to accomplish during this, shelter in place, is to reflect on everything that's happened, because I've been one of the few artists that have been super fortunate in the last 2 years, and I definitely have done none of that by myself. It's always been the community that's rallied behind me and helped me push me up on their shoulders. And so this has allowed me the time to appreciate that, to think about it, and to just finally soak everything in, because back then when I was always on the go, I really didn't have a moment to actually A, count my blessings, or B, to even think about the things that were going on.
Totally, and actually, great thing you bring up reflections. We actually do have a few questions from the audiences, kind of about like your inspiration and people who you've worked with. So we have one question here from Jessica. What first got you into music, and did anyone inspire you to get into music? I think you were saying that it's always been your outlet. So what was that experience like for you?
I've always been a big fan of music. I actually see myself as a fan before an artist. I think my close friends know that I'm such a fangirl. There's so many people that inspire me, and a lot of that really is not based, out of, random emotion. It's really because I grew up listening to a lot of music, and my earliest memories, especially my introduction to hip hop, I tell people all the time, is Francis Magalona, who is an MC from the Philippines, the late Francis M. And he was the first rapper that I'd ever not only heard, but seen on television, being a little kid. And from there, his album, which was called Yo, I still actually have the cassette tape that my mom had in the 90s. I remember being like 5-6 years old, listening to those songs, because that was the only album that my mom brought from the Philippines when we moved here to the US. And I not only listened to the songs from beginning to end, but also rapped along with them. And that really was my introduction to realizing what lyrics were, and how lyrics were in conjunction to the music. And from there, of course, growing up in the Bay Area, I was introduced to artists like E40, Hieroglyphics, and Snoop, because we're in the West Coast. And I think gradually I fell in love with Lauryn Hill's Miseducation of Lauryn Hill, and I was a teenager at that time, and that album truly changed my life, my perspectives of what it meant to be not only a woman but a woman of color, and navigating through these spaces. And as I matured. And I think it was really Lauryn Hill who inspired me to start writing my own poetry. And I remember having this journal at, 14, 15 years old. And whether I was in class or I came home from school, I would write in it every single day with the mission to at least write one verse. And gradually, of course, with the rise of social media and music being so accessible, I ended up saving all my lunch money to buy a microphone. When I was in high school, I remember I spent, I think it was 4 months of just eating Doritos and drinking flavored water. That's all I did. That was my diet. I don't recommend it, by the way, but I saved $2 every single day. And finally, I had enough money to buy this dynamic microphone, and I plugged it into my computer. And really, after that, the rest was history. I started recording myself, and all I did was, thankfully, I was in a time where, again, resources were available to me. So all I had to do was Google, how do I connect the microphone to my computer? How do I record myself? And, with things like SoundCloud, I was able to upload my music directly online and gain a following that way. And I've been blessed in the last couple of years where, I've transitioned from the quote unquote being a bedroom artist, and just recording myself in my studio at home, to actually being able to perform live on stages. And, it's definitely been a journey for sure.
Yeah, and it's weird because I feel like in a way we're kind of like returning back to that bedroom artist in a way, because like we shouldn't be going out to like these spaces, but I wonder if that gives a sense of almost like returning to the beginning, and like reflecting as to like the roots of everything that you build, like from what you practice at home, So I actually do have a question here from Corinne about, what any advice would you give artists who have to hustle during the day and then find time at night to do their crafts? And I feel like this is that same feeling of, what do we have to show up like online for right now? And then like, when you have some time for yourself, like what are you creating and doing for yourself? I would love to hear more about that process of yours.
Thank you for that question. That is a fascinating question, because I know that there's so many people out there in that same boat. Especially, I think, being artists who are also people of color, we find ourselves hustling even harder because we want to do this art, we want to express ourselves and have this outlet, but at the same time, we have bills to pay, we have student loans to pay back, and the hustle is definitely real. And I actually have had this question asked to me several times because, I would like to think that, a large number of my followers do know that I still have my 9-to-5 job. I work at a biotech company. So actually throughout this pandemic, I've been still working every single day because, my company, we help make COVID-19 kits. And so with that, and like I mentioned earlier, with me still continuing to be busy especially with live streams now, just for example, like today, I went to work and then 12 o'clock I had a live stream for a different event. And then I went back to work, and then I came back home, put on my makeup and straightened my hair and did this. And then I have another live stream later this evening. I mean, that's just, at the end of the day, I don't see this part of my life as work compared to my 9-to-5. Especially, I think when we realize that the art that we do is a passion and is our calling and is something that really is in our DNA. When I think about rap, when I think about songwriting, it is probably the first thing I think of when I wake up in the morning and the last thing I think of when I go to bed at night. And that's, not even to put an emphasis on it. Sometimes I wake up and, I dream in lyrics and I wake up like, oh shit, I got to write down that bar. But that's just an example to say that for so many of us artists, we do have to wear multiple hats and we do have to juggle different responsibilities. And what I've learned from this is that it's a challenge. I'm not gonna lie, it's to be fully transparent, it isn't easy to have different hustles. And I'm thankful that I do have a strong support system, whether that's with my partner or with my family. I guess that's the advice that I can give to other hustlers out there who have multiple responsibilities or jobs, is to make sure that you do have a strong support system and to be okay with asking for help, because at the end of the day, as much as we want to put on our plate, we can't do everything ourselves.
Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, talking more about, yeah, like finding a purpose and doesn't feel like work because of it, like the passions behind it. I like so like wholly agree with that. And, speaking about like different hats and what we had to do to like make it out there, there's actually a lot of questions here about like the Asian American experience, being a woman of color, being in these industries that are male or white dominated, or like how do you navigate? I do want to ask this like word for word. Have you encountered struggles being a Filipino American and a woman in hip hop, which is male dominated, and how do you overcome any stereotype? As well as the question, that was the question for Corinne and from Pearl, how do you avoid being pigeonholed as an Asian American artist? How do you balance making music that feels true to you and your community, but also expanding beyond that and appealing to the mainstream? If you can like kind of, I know that's kind of a lot, but at the end of the day, really understanding what it means to be, what is right now different but isn't, so how do we kind of reconcile those things?
To answer the first question, there have been challenges, obviously, being an Asian American woman, specifically a woman in hip hop. Obviously, it's been historically a male dominated field. I remember early on in my career, a lot of the things I used to do were really grounded in that underground hip hop, because I grew up listening to 90s and that boom bap type of hip hop. So I found myself always participating, for example, in, cipher circles. And every time I'd show up in a cipher, I would say 99% of the time I was the only woman there. And even though I didn't see that visibility in my surroundings, I think what kept me going is recognizing that just me being there was a statement to the men that were there that women deserve to be part of this space as well. And I think I would like to think also that me being there, which has always been, my hope with everything that I do with my music, is to inspire other young Pinays or other young women out there to also, explore the arts, specifically within hip hop or spoken word, because there definitely needs to be more visibility of women in this kind of industry. And to answer the second question about, being Asian American and how to expand, I guess, my audience and not just be pigeonholed within, that kind of group is, that's a good question, because that was actually something that I used to grapple with a lot at the start of my career. Like, how can I get X amount of views, or how can I make sure that, my listeners expand beyond just within my community? But I think what the last 2 years have taught me is that my goal isn't necessarily mainstream, or my goal isn't necessarily to get a certain demographic to follow me and my music. I think my main focus is and always has been to make sure that whatever music that I do put out, that it's true to my experiences and that it's a reflection of who I am. Because, of course, if I'm talking about being Filipino, of course, it would naturally gravitate towards my Filipino American listeners, and there's nothing wrong with that, I feel. And I think sometimes we're too focused on compartmentalizing and putting people in categories, like so and so is an Asian American artist, so and so is a white rapper, and so is a female rapper. But I think if you're an artist within that industry, you just need to continue doing the art that you want to make, and everything else will follow after that. Because, for example, when I was making the Circa 91 album, I never thought I'm going to make a Filipino American experience type of album. And that was never, ever entered my mind. I just came about it thinking, I'm going to talk about my story, and I'm going to talk about my mom's story, because she never got a chance to share her story, never was given a platform. And what I've come to realize from that is now I have people from different communities of color that have approached me and said that they also identify with that experience. And that just reminds me that there are similar threads that run across our communities. And I never just want to focus on who my audience is, because I think at the end of the day, everyone will be able to relate as long as you're true to yourself.
All right, so we actually look like we're about 2 minutes from your performance, so just letting you know that.
Yeah,
But yeah,
that's
I want to catch, speaking on involving like your experience and your story. I love that you mentioned your mom. That was like kind of like my next bit of wanting to incorporate my mom in my artistry. But we actually have a question here regarding the politics and things that that you speak of in your music. And so someone's asking, what individuals, social or political movements have had an influence on you, and what, like what is going to be informing your next album?
When it comes to my politics and my framework and thinking, I always think about the educators, my teachers. I always think about the authors, the books that I read growing up. And more recently, definitely the activists in my community, the organizers, that includes the late Dr. Donald Balon, that includes Dr. Alison Tintiangco Cavales, Dr. Kevin Nadal, Dr. EJR David. These are all, Filipino American scholars who have been putting in the work and have been documenting our history. And so those are the type of people that I look to for inspiration, especially for my next album as I continue to explore my identity.
Great. And I also now want to take time to I have a question here regarding 7,000 miles, like that whole project and traveling, and like now coming back and bringing it home, and also, yeah, like having to sit with it because, we're not necessarily out. I want to hear about those projects before we go into your performance.
So I'm sad that we didn't get to premiere 7,000 Miles this year. But like I was telling a few of the CAAMFest folks, hopefully we can make that happen next year. So what 7,000 Miles is about is last spring, me and my band, the Balikbayans, we took a trip to the Philippines for the very first time as a group. And for many of us in that group, it was our homecoming. Some of us had never been back to the Philippines for the last 10 years or so. And so it was really a big moment for us. And it was very special. Not only did we get to bring an album like Circa 91 talking about immigration and identity back to the motherland and seeing how people would respond to it, but I feel like what we got from it the most was we were all able to reconnect with our roots and our culture. And it was just amazing to see the response that the music got out there, and also amazing to see the community and the music scene that the people have built in Manila. So it was a span of 5 days that we were there, and we performed every single day that we were there, sometimes 3 times in a day. Sorry to my band, they already know that I'm completely too ambitious, but it was a lot of fun. And we captured a lot of interviews and behind the scenes footage for that documentary. So it wasn't just performances that we captured, but we're looking to complete it definitely in the next coming months, and hopefully we'll have it out for streaming soon, and hopefully be able to feature it on the next CAAMFest as well.
Amazing. I'm sure that would be the case. And so as we have you transition over to your performance, I just want to say thank you to the audience for all your questions. And as Ruby's moving over there, I just want to say thank you so much, Ruby, for the time and really sharing your story with us, and all these projects and all these clips that we got to see earlier. It's amazing to see what you're doing, and it just, again, as an artist and also as a Asian American artist, Filipino American, woman of color, in this space, it's amazing to take the stage with you, this virtual stage with you, and I hand it off to you now for your performance.
Thank you. Check. Hey. Yeah. Shout out to CAAMFest. Hey. From Morro Bay to the East Bay, we stay survivor where we stay. They keep in van where we lay. There's no debating that we pay. That naval base up in Subic Bay to all the places that they tried to take. From Magellan Stays to Phillips Strait, when the land was straight, then they changed the way. So my father drowning in the alcohol, then my mama always beeping the Escanol. Thoughts with the brown skin start to cross, hate with the cushion just to break the fall. Second class citizen, never been one. Traded the paces so we can have ones. Darker the skin and you scared of the sun. Silence to speak with an accident tongue. All of these faces I'm looking like none. Taught to forget of the places I'm from, but we grew up from the barrio and slums. My aunties, we drink at the red horse and rum. Never be stopping, the work's never done. Long as they keep on corrupting the funds, thinking the damage is done and they run. But we stay militant daughters and sons. Let's take it back to the day you persuade. All of you thinking they're throwing me shade. My people are roses that grew in the shade. Came up from places exploited by trade. Kill them in a bar so hot, he's top notch. I get they just top my stop. Not on my watch, like it's 12:30 on the dot on the clock. Watch, all I see your hands up and down with the beat drops. Yeah. Hey. Yeah. Check. Yeah. No need for introduction, you hear and you know why. Nose dive into an era where the beats are low-fi. Put my face in the book, cause my people are profile. Erased from the books, some people are told lies. Sky's the limit, go fly. Kelly Green, we go high. I need black in 05, but in you I grow wise. The price we grow thighs, double dose of broke lies. We dove in those sides, and losing hope it goes by. I got Bam to my left and Erica right. Here they giving you America like Erica right. Try to take my title, never will to inherit the rights. That Club and City's finest. Put me on the 5 list, color up the lines, cause I color like your iris. Hunger in my eyes, this is everything that I risk. Kill it with my tongue, every time I spit a freak. The work is never done, hands up, cause I'm finally here. Yeah, get your hands in the air. Yeah, cause now the greatest is here. And I'ma make this my year. Yeah, cause I'm finally here. Yeah, Felicia is here. Yeah, CAAMFest is here. Yeah, we finally here. You call yourself a rapper, talk less and take notes. You slave sheep, respect those who praise, keep a next toe. Dick piece to flex, throw finesse, piece to bless those. See free success, hope you safe, keep it stay woke, leave your cat space. Till the point I catch praise, rhymes turn to catchphrase, till it starts a cascade. Product of Mac, Dre, Wu-Tang, and Andre. Break beats on beat tips, a break next, we press play. They say we from the slums where the heroes never run. But people always sung, brown faces to the sun. Skill to say it one more time. Up the spinner from the stations and rotating around the sun. The access, my mattress, the past, top and past this. Abstract the masses, last stop, no practice. Back to back raps, Manila Noir, bar for bar. Homie, check the repertoire, bar. What's the price of subpar? Well, let's set the bar. Cause I'm finally here. Hey, get your hands in the air. Yeah, cause now the greatest is here. And I'ma make this my year. Hey, cause I'm finally here. Hands up, yeah, I'm finally here. Hands up, yeah, I'm finally here. Hands up, yeah, we finally here. Okay. Once again, shout out to CAAMFest. Shout out to Felicia. Shout out to Granny Cart Gangsters one time. Hey. Bounce, 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 just bounce, 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 just bounce, 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 bounce. Hey, hey. We pay, they rob us. These snakes don't want us. Each day we all play this game that they taught us. In God now we trust, but they praying on us. If she ate, then we scrape, so we hate and both us. My mama's education on me, shit still. From mechanic to McDonald's just to pay these bills. Trying to sell a soul just to make this still. But the people in control are gonna hate me still. Trying to save face, penis with the brown face. Calling as a tongue will never like it. How my name tastes. Mid across the ocean, motherfuckers better make way. 7,000 miles, so they don't want us in the first. These days, but to pay rate for a briefcase. Time safe, it's a death rate, and it's prepaid. Free wage, minimum pay, ain't no leeway. While they throwing us bait just so we pay. Brown face, but some made late in my heyday. But wait, but you made late in your grave weight. Made late, pick the game straight, or your meat bait. Green face, had the ink taste when it bleed. Yeah. Okay. Hey. Yeah. Yeah. Watch me make it rain. People don't know that I'm paid though. Watch me make it rain. I made that dollar from all pay. So watch me make it rain. Watch me make it rain. Hey, watch me make it rain. Watch me make it rain. I said now watch me make it rain. People never know my face though. Watch me make it rain. I trade that dollar from all pay. So watch me make it rain. Watch me make it rain. Okay, now watch me make it rain. Watch me watch me, make it rain. Kung pwede launta ako makakuha hingkwarta para ako makaginhawa o bago batrato haako kung mabosag pangin mestiza pat ako nitsura tuto kita tatun panik basura paggamit dalahin busag na pintura baga ng pelikula at atong kultura pagkita't politika puro nabuwa oranhan Yolanda dago ang kwarte kinkuha baligya waray nakakita damat patay nga naluno na bata sekreto na may tinatago kontrata ay napakiana isara ibaba ikaw unik bala kiran at bahala ayaw ka baraka kung natitinawa hirain mo kung nakuha nirat mo kwarta kurako timbis dumulo sila at nagkakainis paano kumita ng pera bitbit ang hirap ng buhay tsaga at tiis palaging gipit wala bang hustisya sa ating bansa at lahat na lang puro peke at eto grabe marunong din ako gumante sa kurakot na negosyante at matapo watch me make it rain people don't know that I'm paid so watch me make it rain I made that dollar from a peso watch me make it rain watch me make it rain yeah watch me make it rain watch me make it rain I said now watch me make it rain people never know my face so watch me make it rain I trade that dollar from a peso watch me make it rain watch me make it rain hey watch me make it rain watch me make it rain and I want to dedicate this last song to all the frontliners out there all the first responders thank you for your work I wrote this album cause I want my life to change. Tired of being shortchanged and trying to remain sane. Hopped off the plane, didn't stop all the pain. My father's still in debt and we've been struggling to pay for a bedroom off of Meekland Ave. Reaching for just meat and half, hands tied against the odds. How you gonna even that? People from the slums once, now live in the humdrum. Mama from the barrio, so we dreaming we could stunt once, mama. I know it's gonna be fine wherever we go, cause we know your race is golden dream and be a hero. What's an ego to an equal? I free flow when I speak though. My pipe dreams through peephole. My skin so Filipino. Oftentimes my pride inside is spot in high tides. Day we broke the ocean. What's the day you learn a nosedive? Closed eyes, fingerprint ink with the most die. Those times mama never blinked. Say the oath twice. I said mama we gon' make it there someday. I said mama we gon' make it there someday. I said mama we gon' make it there someday. I said mama we gon' make it there someday. I said mama we gon' make it here. I said mama we gon' make it here. I said mama we gon' make it here. Yes. We gon' make it this day. I feel the sun's rays open up my eyes. I feel brave cause I once made a promise to myself that I'm a vessel. So it's one way that I'ma take up space until I'm done. Let the song play, my friends say unpaid. These days be the worst days. We pray, they lay more cases at a worse rate. Help us find a way, we rise up, carry this weight. Frontliners lead the way, and we thank them for the risks made. Worst case, fixed ways, fixed wage, mistakes. But this case, this race, Tacloban City, birthplace, circa 91, cause we immigrants in this place, gentrified, displaced, stayed alive in this race, took a plane this way, across the ocean this wave, settled in the bay, so I hit him with the this face, grew up in a way that I knew myself, I can't wait for another day to rise up, we'll make it someday. Once again, thank you so much to CAAMFest, shout out to Felicia, shout out to all the frontline workers out there, all the first responders. We'll make it through this together. Someday, someday. Someday. Hey, hey, hey. I said, mama, we gon' make it there someday. I said, mama, we gon' make it there someday. I said, mama, we gon' make it there someday. I said, mama, we gon' make it there someday. I said, mama, we gon' make it here. I said, mama, we gon' make it here. Hey, I said, mama, we gon' make it here. I said, mama, we gon' make it here someday. Thank you again so much for this opportunity. Once again, my name is Ruby Ibarra. It's been such an honor.
Thank you so much, Ruby. That was amazing. I actually wanted to quickly ask you, I know you want to talk about Pinay Rising and anything else you'd like to share with our audience today. I wanted to give you that moment right here.
So thank you for reminding me. I do want to share with everyone, I'm doing a Pinay Rising Scholarship Program with Dr. Allison Tintianco Cobales. And the deadline for submissions is this Friday, May 22nd at 11:11 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. To apply, there is no GPA requirement, there is no submission fee. It's just one application form and one video to talk about why you do what you do. And to submit, just go to tinyurl.com/Pinay's Rising. $500 scholarships for all self-identified Pinay students out there.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Ruby, again, for this performance and the conversation. We're really excited to continuously follow you from the CAAM organization here. And I'm Felicia. Once again, thank you so much for joining us. There's actually 3 more days of CAAMFest online, and you can find more information at CAAMFest.com. I'm Felicia, filming from the Beige Media HQ, as well as Good Company, Oakland. Thank you again, and have a great night.